Welcome to Dory Cote on Shamanism, a weekly podcast that explores one theme in shamanism throughout each month. Get comfortable, have a seat, and let's get started.
Welcome to this series of podcasts on the topic of shaman, medium, or psychic. I welcome you to participate, sending me questions if you have any, or just sit back and listen.
Dory, please tell us, what is the difference between a shaman, a medium, and a psychic?
That's a great place to begin. I want to share that I was guided to do a podcast on this particular topic because recently I had dinner with some very dear friends who have lived very spiritual lives, all of their lives, at least all of the life that I've known them. And during dinner, the topic of psychics and mediums and me being a shamanic practitioner came up. And I soon came to understand that even though they are highly developed spiritual people, they didn't really understand the difference between a shaman, a medium, or a psychic. And then I understood if they didn't have a clear understanding of it, then surely there must be a lot of people out there who do not. So that's what prompted me to do this particular topic. I will be as brief as possible in describing the differences. A shaman is someone who is deliberately putting themselves into a trance-like state and doing what we call in modern-day shamanism a journey, which is really a way of describing a purposeful and intentional way of allowing a part of their spirit, a part of the shamanic practitioner's spirit, to travel away from their body into another realm of existence. We have names for some of those realms, but that doesn't really matter. The point is that the shaman allows a part of their soul or spirit to deliberately leave their body while in a trance-like state for the purpose of going to another dimension of reality, connecting with helping spirits that they have developed a long-term relationship with, for the purpose of bringing back healing, power, or knowledge, or wisdom. So that's a shaman in a very, very abbreviated way. A medium is typically somebody who is able to experience and see with their human eyes, with their eyes open, the spirits of deceased people who are here inhabiting the earth plane or are here visiting the earth plane for a short period of time. And further, the medium is able to engage those spirits into conversation or into responding to questions that the medium might pose to the deceased person on behalf of another, a client or a family member or somebody who is present with that person. So you see, it's a bit different than a shaman in that the medium doesn't go anywhere. The spirits come, they're able to see spirits who are present here in what we call, this reality and communicate with them for the sake of typically helping a client or someone that they're communicating with to feel assured that their loved one, their deceased loved one, is around them and does have something to say and has messages to convey to them that hopefully will be helpful. A psychic is generally somebody who is well developed in their capacity to intuit information, guidance, wisdom, sometimes related to the past or the present or the future on behalf of another. So again, the psychic may or may not see spirits around their client, but generally is somebody who's a fairly highly developed intuitive, somebody who can intuit what is happening currently in someone's life, what has happened in the past perhaps, and what is likely to happen in the future. And sometimes they do that by holding someone's hand. Sometimes they don't have to even be in the person's physical presence. They can be doing it from thousands of miles away by telephone. There are many, many ways that a psychic can access guidance and information, but it is not this in the same way as a shaman, in that the psychic does not intentionally put themselves in a trance state and does not take a, quote, journey outside of space and time to another reality. But those are the basic differences.
Why do some people say that they are capable of doing all of these things?
Well, it is true that some people are capable of doing all of these things. Somebody who is a shaman or a shamanic practitioner in our more current modern day language can also very much be capable of being a medium and or a psychic. It truly depends upon the individual person's path, their training, their interests, and their innate gifts and capacity. For instance, I have some friends who believe I am a medium, and I am quick to say to them, no, I truly do not see myself as a medium at all, because I'm not capable in general to see the spirits of deceased people hanging around here on the earth plane unless I put myself into a trance state. When I'm journeying, oh yes, I can communicate with the beloveds, the deceased people of anybody who comes to see me. 99% of the time, I'm able to go where that deceased person is residing, whether it's here on the earth plane or someplace else. But I'm not a medium. There are some people, however, who have the capacity to do the shamanic journey, to also be a medium, and also to be fairly psychic, and maybe even put themselves out there as a psychic as well as a shamanic practitioner.
Do you think that one of these modes is preferable to the others?
No, I do not, and here's why. It really depends upon what a human client is looking for in the way of guidance or healing or information. There are some very, very good shamanic practitioners, and there are also some not so good shamanic practitioners. The same is true with people who put themselves out there as a medium or a psychic. And so we'll talk about that more in some of the future podcasts. How do you discern, who is good and who isn't? But if somebody is truly seeking clear guidance about, a deceased loved one, and feels that it would be better for them to sit across a table from somebody else and have that person communicating live with their deceased loved one and describing what they look like and what they're doing and what they have to say, then then that is a good path for them to take. If somebody wants something different in the way of a shaman journeying to their deceased loved one to access information about how they're doing in this other realm that they're in, ask them questions, get a sense of what is this deceased loved one's soul journey, do they have past life connections, all those kinds of things, then they would be far better served seeing a shaman. If somebody wants something that looks more like palm reading or access about possibilities of what's coming this month or this year, those kinds of things, then perhaps a psychic can best serve their needs. Generally, somebody goes to see a shaman if they're looking for some spiritual guidance. A psychic would not necessarily be providing spiritual guidance or coaching, but that does not make them any less valuable.
While you mentioned that a future podcast will cover how to tell if someone is legitimate, is there anything that you would like to say about that now?
Yes, I would say that in general, if you want to know whether a shamanic practitioner, a medium, or a psychic is legitimate and really good at what they do, then there are some measuring sticks you should use. One is with regard to a shamanic practitioner, you want to ask a lot of questions about how did this person come to be a shamanic practitioner or a shaman. In fact, I would go so far as to say to steer away from somebody who calls themselves a shaman unless they are from an indigenous culture. The reason very simply is that in our modern day world, we know from experience that it takes many, many, many years for us as people in the Western world to develop the knowledge and the wisdom and the guidance of working in these other realms of existence to really, truly be what we call the hollow bone. So if somebody's calling themselves a shaman and they have a minimal amount of training, I would stay away from them, because that is an indication to me that they are very much in their ego, and the title is of some importance to them. As far as a medium or a psychic is concerned, I would go on reputation. I tend to ask a lot of questions in advance before I allow anybody to work with my soul or to access knowledge about me or my beloveds who have passed over. So before I see somebody, I really vet them. I spend time asking other people whose opinions I value, whether they have ever seen this person, what do they know about this person, are they reputable, are they really very aware of the language that they use in working with you, because it is very important not to traumatize people more than they're already traumatized. So if mediums are predicting things that are not good, or if psychics are predicting the same kinds of things, if people are talking about negative things that are going to happen in a person's life, I find that in these times that is not helpful, and those are the kinds of practitioners I want to stay away from.
This completes our prepared questions on the overview. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Yes, I just would like to add at the end here, if you are somebody who is seeking spiritual guidance or healing of your spirit or your soul, or you really want to work with somebody who has had a lot of experience in how to work with spiritual guidance with humans, then I would veer in the direction of working with somebody who's a shamanic practitioner, because that is truly the purpose of the shamanic practitioner, is to be working with the person's soul in a very cautious way and using methods that have been tested and tried for centuries. And so with spiritual matters, I would go in the shamanic practitioner direction. If you're looking for something that is more like, I really would like to talk to my grandmother, see what, she has to say today, and you're feeling a little casual about that, then, the medium or the psychic might very well serve your purposes. Go to the shaman if you're seeking some spiritual guidance. And that's all I have on this topic today.
Thank you for listening to Dory Cote on Shamanism. We'd love to hear your thoughts, stories, reactions, and questions. Come on over to dorycote.com and join the conversation. And tune in next week for more on this subject, or next month for a new subject. You can subscribe to this podcast in iTunes or sign up on dorycote.com to receive notices when the podcasts are posted. That's Dory, D-O-R-Y, and Cote, C-O-T-E.com. Drumming and rattling by Dory Cote and Terry Morgan. Technical assistance and audio production by JillHackett.com. And this is Susan Savelle, wishing you many blessings in your life. We hope to have you join us next time.